Good evening and welcome to Live at 5. Today is Monday, April 14th, 2008. I'm Brooke Eigelhart.
And I'm Amanda Ricks. Coming up, the Mothers Against Drunk Driving held their 25th annual Mad Dash this weekend.
And several parts of Arkansas are preparing for more floods today. We'll have more on that after the break.
But first, let's get a look at our weather with Sammy B. Allen. Sammy?
Warm weather is coming, folks. It's going to be a little cool tonight with some patchy frost between 3 and 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. There will be mostly clear skies, though, but it will be cool, so if you need to take precautions, cover those flowers or something tonight, you may want to do that. But we'll have more on that and your local news right now as your Live at 5 begins.
The 25th annual Mad Dash was held in Searcy this weekend. Saturday morning, people lined up to show their support for Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Drunk driving fatalities make up about 40% of total traffic deaths, and the Mad Dash is a way for people to fight against drunk driving.
Drivers, but in the last number of years, 28 years I've been working with MAD, we've gotten that number down to about 17,500.
In high school, one of my best friend's mother was killed by a drunk driver, so I just saw the pain that was associated with that and thought it was a good cause, so it came out in the end.
I mean, when I heard about this and the cause it was for, it just really got to my heart, you know. There's really a lot of people die from this every year, and I just want to do anything I can to help, really.
The Mad Dash is a major fundraiser for the White County chapter of MAD. All the proceeds will go to fighting against drunk driving in this area.
Harding University will conclude the 2007-2008 American Studies Institute Distinguished Lecture Series with Steve Forbes. Forbes is the chairman and CEO of Forbes Incorporated and the editor-in-chief of Forbes magazine. Forbes campaigned for the Republican nomination for presidency in 1996 and 2000. He will be speaking in Harding University's Benson Auditorium on April 24th at 7:30 that night.
The upper White River is rising 5 to 10 feet in some places. Newport homeowners are bracing their third flood in a month. The city is preparing for another emergency. The sandbags are now in place, and now all they are waiting for in Jackson County is water. As the sandbagging continues, some residents are still cleaning up from the first flood. And if the waters come up again, they will be faced with having to do it all over again.
Friday night, there were fears the floodgates at Greers Ferry Dam would open as the lakes rose to record levels. Those downstream braces for the worst. Currently, the dam's holding at nearly 486 feet. The lake can only hold 487 feet of water before the gates on the dam have to open, and those levels are too close for comfort.
A Bellefontaine man accused of using an assault rifle to kill 2 men has been acquitted because of a mental illness. 57-year-old Ronald Eggins will be sent to the state hospital in Little Rock after a circuit judge ruled that Eddings was not guilty by reason of mental disease. Eddings was charged with the capital murder, first-degree murder, for the November killings of 47-year-old Jerry Lee Smith and the 65-year-old Jimmy Charles Davis. Eddings told investigators that people were conspiring to kill him and thought people had been trying to poison him for years.
Some Little Rock police officers remain on paid leave following a shooting Saturday that claimed the life of an armed suspect. Brent Mosley III, who had reportedly been shooting at a neighbor's house, refused to put his gun down when asked. That's when shots were fired by police. Mosley died at the scene. The shooting remains under investigation, and it is still unclear how many officers were involved.
Tax day is just a day away. Across the country, postal employees are gearing up to provide last-minute relief to millions of taxpayers right up to midnight. When taxpayers mail their taxes with the U.S. Postal Service, They enjoy the benefits of timely mailing and timely filing paying rule for tax returns and payments, as long as the return is postmarked by April 15th. The IRS considers the return to be filed on time.
The Department of Finance and Administration says 6 new counties will now be eligible for special income tax relief. Those counties are Chillicothe, Hempstead, Little River, Nevada, Poinsett, and Sebastian. This weekend, Governor Beebe declared the counties disaster areas. The deadline for filing income tax returns and paying any tax due is extended until August 15th for taxpayers affected by the storms and who reside or have a business in the affected counties. 58 Arkansas counties are now eligible for special tax relief.
Former State Senator Dole Webb will head the Arkansas Republican Party's effort to increase voter turnout in the general election this fall. The state GOP announced today that Webb will chair the party's Victory 2008 initiative to increase turnout and support Republican candidates in the fall. Webb is a former member of the governor's task force on racial profiling and is a former chairman of the Arkansas History Commission. He is currently serving a 4-year term on the Public Defender Commission.
Hundreds of jobs are heading to the Jonesboro area. A Denver-based company, StarTech, will open a new contact center. It should be operational in the fall of this year. 500 new jobs will be available in this 55,000 square foot facility. StarTech outsourcers for global communication corporations.
Coming up, presidential candidate Hillary Clinton has something to say about her opponent.
And another presidential nominee says the country is already in a recession. More on that after the break.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Another presidential candidate believes the country is in a recession. Republican John McCain said earlier today that the Associated Press annually meeting that economics may have a technical definition of a recession, but from his perspective, the important factor is that Americans are hurting. The presidential hopeful also announced his support for legislation that would protect the identity of reporters' confidential news sources.
Some analysis on the political volley after Senator Barack Obama's comments on bitter Pennsylvanians. Obama said that small-town people facing economic hard times become bitter and cling to guns and religion. Senator Hillary Clinton has accused him of talking down to Pennsylvania voters. Obama claims Clinton is twisting his words for political advantage. The chief political analyst for Slate.com weighed in on the issue.
It's not that he was saying people were bitter, it's that he was saying people were clinging. He was speaking for these people in small towns, and nobody likes to be spoken for, and furthermore, nobody likes to be spoken for and told that their beliefs that they hold strongly are the result of bitterness or some other problem in their lives. And so that tends to get people right sort of in the gut, and making fun of Hillary Clinton is his best shot at fixing this problem, but it may be a little deeper than that.
Pennsylvania holds its primary April 22nd.
Barack Obama is working to diffuse the controversy over his comfort that small-town voters are bitter. Rival Hillary Clinton has latched onto the comment as elitist, out of touch, and demeaning. Her campaign staffers have been handing out stickers reading, "I'm not bitter." Obama acknowledges a poor choice of wording and says he deeply regrets if anyone was offended. But he also says it's true. Obama elaborated at a town hall-style meeting yesterday in Indiana, saying working-class voters are frustrated because they feel They're not being listened to. Obama and Clinton are both scheduled to attend a forum on faith issues today in Pennsylvania, which holds its primary a week from tomorrow.
An imprisoned killer who was 12 years old when he committed a double murder was denied a hearing by the Supreme Court today. A hearing was planned to discuss Christopher Pittman's 30-year prison sentence. Pittman's defenders argued that sentence was excessive for someone that age and claimed heavy doses of antidepressants he was taking at the time sent his mind spinning out of control. Pittman was convicted 3 years ago of killing his grandparents with a shotgun as they slept, then setting the house on fire. He is now 18 years old.
2 separate bombings in northern Iraq claimed the lives of 10 people today. Iraqi officials say 13 people have been killed and nearly 20 wounded in 2 separate bombings this afternoon. A parked car bomb exploded to kill 10 soldiers and wounded 7 more. Then a suicide bomber blew himself up during the funeral of a Shiite family, killing 3 people and wounding 7 others in the northern city of Tal Afar.
Across the region and around the world, higher grocery bills are being driven by record prices for corn, wheat, and oil. In Egypt this week, people got so angry they actually went out and protested escalating prices and stagnant salaries. Across the country, thousands skipped work and school over the climbing cost of food. The Egyptian government has raised interest rates twice this year to try to curb inflation. But as CNN reports, it may not be enough to quell the anxiety felt by those struggling to get by.
For many of Egypt's poor, this is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Called Aish in Egyptian Arabic, it means both life and bread. And recently, bread has become too expensive after global commodity prices skyrocketed and domestic supplies fell short. So a few weeks ago, the government stepped in. At this police-run bakery, 72,000 pieces of bread are shipped out every day to 2 of the 30 distribution centers set up nationwide, where the price per slice is 1 cent.
At this point, yes, I believe that we're turning around the corner, and we have already passed the worst part of the crisis.
On bread, perhaps, but head to the market and you get an earful about how prices are out of control. As Abdel was telling us that for him, business is down, Nadia jumped in to explain why, saying the price of rice, pasta, the things she says that the poor depend on are all going up, and people, she says, are cutting back. Virtually everyone here told us they're buying and eating less of the basics. Mona says she can no longer afford beans.
One day everybody will go crazy. Everyone will complain. We are tired of this.
They are also unsure of exactly what's happening and who's responsible.
The government must go on the streets and see the prices. Who is making the price go up? The government or the sellers?
Egypt's finance minister says neither.
Unfortunately, the price rise is driven by what is happening in international markets. The local component is very little.
But critics say there is plenty of blame to go around in Egypt, where there is corruption and where wages have been too low for too long. This is a country with a growing economy, with billions coming in through international investment, but little is trickling down.
It's not enough. There's 77 million of us. For the 77 million to feel it, we need at least 5-6 years of 7+ growth.
That's a long time to wait for butchers at this Cairo market, where the meat now outnumbers the shoppers. Ahmed has 3 kids, a 4th on the way, and he says he's seen 50% of his business vanish in the past 3 months as prices have shot up. No, it's never been this bad, he says. Before, all was better, but we've been building up to this point for a year, and now it's very bad. It's estimated that close to half of Egypt lives on less than $2 a day, and the reality is that for them, things are getting worse. Anish Rahman, CNN, Cairo.
Cheap labor has for decades given China an advantage for few other countries could beat. But with new labor laws coming into effect, rock-bottom wages are quickly becoming a thing of the past. That's good news for the workers and bad news for business. As Eunice Yoon reports, the changes couldn't have come at a worse time.
For many years, these helmets have been made in China. With labor so cheap, making headgear for retailers like Walmart was a no-brainer for factory owner Philip Chung. But soon, this Taiwanese businessman may be making goods for his customers from an entirely different country.
We intended to stay in China forever, but if we keep losing money, moving out may be the only way for us to survive.
For decades, China has been a mecca for manufacturers. Low taxes and business-friendly rules made it easy for companies to set up factories here. Now, new labor laws and rising costs are threatening China's manufacturing might.
Well, it's a nightmare, of course. Since I would say that thousands of factories will be closing down or moving out from China.
The labor laws require stronger employment contracts, part of the government's new policy to protect China's workers.
They go a large way towards providing further protection to employees that previously did not exist, largely because employers were very selective in how they chose to apply the previous labor laws.
Yet the laws also raise costs at a time when manufacturers are battling fuel shortages, soaring raw material prices, and appreciating Chinese currency and a possible U.S. recession.
Everything is hitting us at the same time. Our costs are up 30%.
Chung's company has 17 factories here in China, but because of these new laws, he's now exploring plans to move half of these production lines to Cambodia, Laos, or Vietnam. Chung assembles his helmets here, but imports nearly all of the raw materials from other countries, making it easier for him to leave. Beijing authorities defend the new laws. They say the rules are more flexible compared to other, more developed countries. That's little comfort to Chung.
We don't see any opportunity here anymore. We need a place where we have a future.
Perhaps in another country where this manufacturer can feel more secure. Eunice Yoon, CNN, Dongguan, China.
A health warning that may affect your breakfast. The company Malt O'Meal is recalling 2 types of cereal after close of 24 reports of salmonella poisoning in 14 states. The cereals to avoid are unsweetened puffed rice and unsweetened puffed wheat. They're also sold under a number of store brands. Look for best if used by dates from April 8, 2008 through March 18, 2009.
Walmart has named an executive to explore possible expansion into Russia and other emerging markets. Walmart has mounted an aggressive overseas expansion in recent years, buying companies or expanding its stake in partners in China, Brazil, and Central America. The retailer has already entered a joint venture in India. Well, Sammy, it's been pretty chilly to be April. Can you kind of tell us what's going on with that?
Yeah, we've seen some pretty unusual spring weather for right now, but it should be warming up later this week. But if you take a look at the almanac, you can see that tonight it should be around 31, which is around freezing, which is what I was talking about earlier. If you have outdoor flowers or plants, you may want to cover those. It could be dangerous for them, but we'll have more on your weather right after this break.
According to the American Dietetic Association, eating breakfast is the right start to every day. It is an early morning refueling stop for your body that affects your overall health and performance. Studies show that breakfast eaters tend to have more strength and endurance, not to mention better concentration and problem-solving skills. Eating breakfast also jumpstarts your metabolism and helps you to get a head start on your daily requirements for vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients. Whole grain cereal with fruit or yogurt is a quick and nutritious way to start your day in a healthy way.
It's a bit chilly out today for Searcy with a high of only 57 right now. The humidity is around 43%, dew point at 35, and the barometric pressure is at 30.05 with a northwest wind of about 10 miles per hour. Looking at the pollen count right now, the tree pollen is pretty high, so if you have tree pollen allergies, you might want to look out for that. And the mold is about moderate. We don't have anything on the weed or grass right now. Looking across the state at the current temperatures, Fayetteville's at 55, Pine Bluff down here at 57, West Memphis is around 50 degrees. Tonight's looking a little bit cold for most of the Arkansas state. The low tonight should be around 32 degrees. There will be some patchy frost, like I said, between 3 and 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and there will be a calm northeast wind of about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Looking at tomorrow's forecast, it's going to be partly sunny with a high of about 63, warming up a little bit. There's going to be a light breeze from the south-southeast of about 5 to 10 miles per hour. As you can see from the regional satellite, we don't have much coverage over Arkansas right now. It's pretty clear in the skies, and it will remain that way for the evening. There's a high pressure system that's going to be coming in with a south wind, blowing up some warm air that is going to warm up the state. But there will be some storms coming Friday. As you can see, there's a 40% chance of rain on Friday with a high of about 69. On Wednesday, it will be warming up to more spring-like weather, about 72 on Wednesday, 73 on Thursday, and the lows for those days will be in the 50s, so it won't be too bad. Looking at the weekend, it should be about 73 on Saturday and sunny. Back to you, Robbie and Brooke.
Thanks, Amy. Well, coming up, a blind golfer makes a hole-in-one.
And it was a rough weekend to be a Bison sports fan. We'll have more on that and other stories after the break.
Youth for Understanding experience was the best thing I've ever done in my entire life.
If you want to learn a language, this is how you do it.
You meet a whole new family that are willing to accept you and take you in.
You only live once, so you do it, try it, live it. Go global!
Well, it was not a very good weekend for the baseball team, I hear. Can you tell us what happened with that?
Now, the Bisons had a rough series in Arkadelphia. I'll tell you more about that right now. The Bison baseball team saw their hopes for a conference tournament bid take a turn for the worse this weekend in Arkadelphia. Harding fell victim to a 3-game sweep at the hands of Henderson State, who had not won a conference game all season prior to the weekend series. The Bison are now in desperate need of wins as they have fallen to 6th in the GSC West Division. The top 4 teams in East Division are eligible for the conference tournament at the end of the season. The Bison are in need of a series sweep next weekend against Arkansas Monticello to keep their tournament hopes alive. They will look to pick up momentum heading into that series with a doubleheader tomorrow afternoon when they take on Central Baptist. The Harding men's tennis team shared its rough weekend for the Bison sports as they saw undefeated streak come to an end Friday. The Bison fell to number 13 Abilene Christian 9-0, ending their consecutive victory streak at 15 matches. Before Friday, the Bison had incredibly not lost a single or doubles match all season. Things went from bad to worse the next day as the Bison suffered their 2nd consecutive loss, this time at the hands of University of Arkansas Little Rock. UALR swept the Bison 7-0, marking the 2nd straight day they had been shut out and dropping their record to 15-2. The Bison are currently in action trying to bounce back against conference rival and nationally ranked Delta State. The Harding track team was able to somewhat salvage the weekend for Bison sports in their meet at Ole Miss this weekend. The men's team saw 5 different athletes set their season's best times and distances led by Frank Bowling's 4th place in the 800 meters. Blake Arnold, Dustin Hahn, Logan Wheeler all ran their best times of the year, and Brian Howard's long jump of over 21 feet set his personal best on the year. The lone event winner for the Bison came from the women's side as sophomore Katie Grant won the steeplechase for the 2nd consecutive meet. The highest finisher for the Lady Bison, other than Grant, was Dia Gibson, who placed 12th in the high jump. The next track meet is this weekend at Mount Sac Relays in Walnut, California. And finally, Perhaps the most prestigious golf tournament in the world took place this weekend at Augusta National Golf Club in Augusta, Georgia. The Masters, for the second straight year, saw its headliner come up just short and a young nobody take the green jacket. Trevor Immelman appeared to be more of a survivor than a victor at the end of Sunday, as swirling winds and cool temperatures kept scores high and players frustrated. Immelman's calm demeanor and steady play carried him on Sunday as he saw the pursuers fall victim to the course. The closest of his victims was the #1 player in the world and perennial PGA Tour Player of the Year, Tiger Woods, who just never seemed to get it going throughout the tournament, yet still finished in second, 3 strokes back of Immelman. By pulling off his stunning victory, Trevor Immelman became just the second South African to win the Masters, joining his idol Gary Player, who has won 3.
Well, Robbie, I watched some of the Masters, and I just did not think Tiger was going to even get second.
Yeah, Tiger really struggled making putts and just didn't have those clutch shots that we're used to seeing him get, and that's why he didn't pull it off.
I was glad to see him at least get second, because I'm a big fan. Well, here's Amanda with more stories.
Thanks, Shaw. An 85-year-old legally blind golfer made a hole-in-one last week. Robert Dunham from southern Arizona accomplished the feat on a 3rd hole on a par 3 course in Green Valley, playing with a group of fellow blind veterans enrolled in a Veterans Affairs Health Care System program. Dunham's volunteer assistant lined him up with the ball, handed him a 9-iron, and stepped back. Durham began losing his vision about 10 years ago, but has been a part of the Veterans Affairs program for only 3 weeks.
Employees of the Dr. Phil TV show have posted bail for a Central Florida teenager. The teen was behind bars and accused of taking part in a videotaped beating of another teen. Producers were in the process of booking guests for a program about the case. A spokeswoman for host Phil McGraw says by helping the girl post bond, staffers went beyond the show's guidelines. She says the program has helped guests in the past when they need financial assistance to come to the show, but posting bail was going too far. As a result, Dr. Phil is dropping the story. Well, I'm a big fan of Dr. Phil, and I was looking forward to that story.
I know.
We didn't get to see it.
I can't believe he would bail a teenager out of jail, though.
It's not like him. Okay, so what do we have in the future of sports this week? What do we have to look forward to?
We got a couple baseball games, one tomorrow, or a doubleheader tomorrow, and then in the weekend, a big conference series against Arkansas Monticello. And then tennis is just finishing up just about now, so we'll see how they did.
Oh, good. And the weather's going to be good for that?
A lot better. It's going to be warming up and be sunny and beautiful.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight on Live at 5. For all your local news, sports, and weather, keep it here.
From all of us at TV 16, have a great night.